Dawn Kenyon, who was known as the First Lady of Children's Television, died earlier this week at the age of 91. She was about to mark her 92nd birthday. Dawn holds the title of being Australia's first female host on a children's program when she hosted Captain Fortune in 1956. The star was born in Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia in 1932 and garnered a reputation for presenting numerous children's shows with enthusiasm. She went on to host Romper Room in the late 1950s and Play School on ABC in 1966. Many of her viewers warmly knew her by the name Miss Dawn, and her friends in the industry have paid tribute to her following the news of her death. Australian reporter Anita Jacoby shared in a heartfelt statement, "Dawn was always a shining light." 60 Minutes presenter Jeff McMullen added, "She was so often the first to greet us, introduce us to new families, and led us deeper into that magic of the merrymakers." Dawn is survived by two of her three children, Peter and Anne. Her eldest son Stephen died in 2016. Jeff wrote to her daughter Anne, "Your warm-hearted mother was so often the first to greet us, introduce us to new families, and led us deeper into that magic of the merrymakers." Dawn was married to British television engineer Fred Kenyon, and she decided to give up presenting after tying the knot with him and relocate to the UK after he accepted a job offer. They moved to London in 1993 after News Limited convinced Fred not to retire, and asked him to help develop the world's first encrypted, end-to-end digital TV broadcast system. The couple lived in the affluent district of Knightsbridge, a stone's throw away from Harrods, during their time in England together. They eventually returned to Sydney and, as reported in the Sydney Morning Herald, enjoyed being grandparents up until Fred's death in 2020. Dawn and Fred were happily married for 63 years after exchanging their vows in St. Philip's Anglican Church, Sydney back in December 1957. The pair got engaged less than 2 weeks after meeting one another through work at Mobbs Lane Studios.